Tonight for dinner, we are going to have brown beans, cornbread, fried cornbread. Kevin wants it fried, and fried potatoes. So I'm going to show you how I make my brown beans first. I'm sure there are many different ways to make brown beans. This is just how I do it. So I'm going to try to film this as best I can. I'm the only one home. Right now I'm going to turn the camera around so that you can see what I have. These are the pinto beans, brown beans that I bought. I bought Great Value from Walmart. They had what looked like a name brand. I don't know name brand beans because we don't buy them very often. But I bought the Great Value because they were literally $1 cheaper, and I don't think there's going to be any difference at all. I really don't. So you're going to need your beans, you're going to need a colander, and you're going to need a big pot. And you're also going to need time because beans take hours and hours to cook. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use my, my table with this green tablecloth because I can see the beans very clearly. So what I'm going to do first is pour them all out on the table. Okay, and this is a 1 pound bag, if that makes any difference. But what you are doing is you're going to look through your beans and you're looking for any little pebbles that you see. So what my mom taught me to do was I'm going to take my colander and put it right here. And then I'm just going to go through my beans, and any that don't look great, like this one for example, hopefully you'll be able to see this. It has a hole in it. It looks, if I can focus, it looks kind of disgusting. So we don't want that bean. So, that one's okay, it's just dirty. So what we're going to do first is just go through, and I'm just raking these into my colander. But you're just going to go through your beans, and what you're really looking for, besides ugly, gnarly beans, you're looking for rocks, because a lot of times you will find little pebbles that have made their way into the bag. And I haven't seen any yet. This process does not take long at all. I haven't found any yet. That one's kind of shriveled, so I'm not gonna keep shriveled ones. You know, and let me just say this. The name brand versus the Great Value, it could just be a matter of plumper, bigger beans. It very well could be. But Kevin and I probably haven't had brown beans and cornbread for, I would say 5 years. And probably won't have them again for another 5. It's one of those things. I know a lot of people eat beans all the time, but it's one of those things that we get in moods for. And I see a rock right here. That's what the rock looks like, and it's literally a little rock. And you can tell the difference. You can definitely tell it feels different and everything. So. Sometimes there's more, sometimes not. But anyway, what I was saying was, for the amount of times that Kevin and I have brown beans and cornbread, I'm not going to spend a lot. This was probably, I think I have my receipt, but I'm thinking these were like $1 something for the whole bag. Maybe $2. They weren't much. I'll look at my receipt in a minute and see if I can tell. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my beans and I'm going to take them over to the sink, and I'm going to give them a really good rinse. Okay, I looked at my receipt, and these beans were actually only $1.57. So I knew they weren't much. And it seems like the name brand was like $2.57. It was a whole dollar difference. And you saw I didn't get many. I mean, I think I got one rock. I found one rock, and I had like 3 questionable looking beans. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rinse these, and then I will put them in my big pan. I have my big pan here, and I will fill it up with hot water and put it on the stove. I have my pan on the stove. I have it on high, and I'll tell you right now, you might as well plan on having a pitcher, because these are going to boil. They're going to cook for hours and hours, and you will have to add countless pitchers of water to the pan. I will try to keep track of how many times I have to add a pitcher. I think this is 2 quarts, not that it matters. Anytime your water starts getting low, though, you need to add more water to your pot, because they will burn. You want to do this on a day that you really are going to be right in the area of the kitchen. You're not going to get busy in the other room doing something else, because they burn. Years ago, making beans, I was sitting right in the next room. But I think, believe it or not, I remember what Kevin and I were watching. We were watching The Birds, Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds on TV, and I just got involved in watching that and kind of forgot that, kept thinking, I'll check on them in a minute, I'll check on them in a minute. Next thing I know, the beans are burned. So make sure that once you get them on the stove, you check on them frequently, because it is amazing how quickly your water will boil out. So what time is it? It is 10 minutes after 10. So I'm going to try to keep track. I've never kept track of like the whole process. I know it normally takes I'm thinking like 3 hours if I remember correctly. So we'll just, I guess you'll be coming along with me to see. Okay, it is only 10:30, and I'm just now putting a full pitcher. At least I think it'll take the full pitcher. So it took almost the whole pitcher. And so now we're starting back from square one, and you need to let it come to a boil again. Probably 20 more minutes, and it'll need another pitcher. It is 5 minutes till 11, and I have my pitcher here. Don't know how much it's going to take. That was the entire pitcher. And you can see it's up pretty far too. So I'll have to watch it and make sure it doesn't boil over. Okay, once your beans have been boiling for a while, you want to add this salt pork belly. This was $2.63 at Walmart. This will add flavor to your beans. So I'm going to open it up and cut it. And it will remind you, it looks like bacon. Normally Kevin is home to cut this for me, so I'm not skilled. Now what I'm going to do is cut this into small cubes. Actually smaller than cubes, really. I'm going to cut it this small. I don't know how small Kevin would have cut it if he were home, but I'm going to put it in like cube size. Kevin loves that knife. It's like his baby. But I think it would have been easier almost when I got to these smaller pieces, maybe to use scissors. So anyway, I'm going to take this and drop it directly into my boiling water and stir it a little bit and just leave it. It is 11:25. Checking in on the beans again. I have a pitcher of water, but I will probably only add about half of it. Just to get it up to a good level. A little more than half, not much more than half. And we will, let's see, give it a little stir. We can look at them. Yeah, they're, see how they plump up? They get bigger with the water. So, just gonna give them a little stir again and let them go. Okay, it's 11:45 and I'm just going to top this off a little bit. That was a half a pitcher and we'll leave it again. Okay, it is right at noon and I have just, these beans look good. And so I'm going to leave these out in the spoon and let them cool off and try them and see if they are ready. Another mistake I've made, besides burning the beans, I also kept up with the beans one time and kept them watered and all that. And I literally boiled the innards out. So like when Kevin and I were eating the beans that night for dinner, we were only getting the outside and there was like no substance to them. So I'm not going to cook them as long this time and I'm going to see if they're ready. Actually, those are good. And the cat's on the table. I'm going to kill him. He doesn't care how many times we squirt him with the water. That water bottle right there, he doesn't care. He's an idiot. Anyway, I'm going to add a lot of salt and pepper. I don't have measurements. Know that it will be a lot. Salt and pepper is to your taste. Some people like to add red hot flakes or anything like that, anything spicy that you want to add. Go ahead and add that now once the beans are ready. I'm going to add salt and pepper to this, but I'm going to turn the stove off. I have a lid for this pan. I will put the lid on it and just move it to the back burner until tonight. Nothing's going to happen to them in the next few hours until dinner, and they're going to be fine sitting out there. It's not like it's a dairy product that's going to get bad. So when it's dinner time tonight, I will just pull those forward on the burner and heat them up. But that did not take as long as I remembered. I'm wondering if the time I'm thinking they took so long is because I boiled the bean out. So anyway, that's the beans. And later on, closer to dinner, I'll show you how I fry my potatoes and how we do fried cornbread. I'm going to peel these potatoes because we are going to have fried potatoes tonight. And then I think he's going to try to use his food processor to slice them.
Yeah, I might have to cut them.
We've never used the food
Might
processor.
have to cut them long ways just to get them to fit.
Yeah, they're big potatoes. These are called jumbo.
Yeah,
They're like jumbo Idaho potatoes. And it's an 8-pound bag, but they're nice. They're big. I showed them in my grocery haul when I got them. But
they're Superman potatoes.
yeah, I like them because then if you and Ashley wanted to have a baked potato, you could.
Yes. Hey, I'm going to use my food processor. I'm going to try to do slices. It's got an adjustable slicer. What I found out, though, we got the Colosso Big O potatoes. And first of all, you have to cut them in half to get them to fit in there. Second of all, this has a max fill line on it. Up to right there, and because it won't engage the motor until you push it down past a certain level. So it works really good once you get it down to that level. Now I'm going to see if those are thick enough because I think those are going to be too thin.
Oh, can you make it to where it's thicker? We don't want that.
We'll just ignore those two.
Yeah, those are...
Alright, those are too thin.
I'd like a little bit thicker, yeah. Okay. So what do you have to do to make it thicker?
It's really cool because what you can do is with this one is...
Now you can just put these on a cutting board and slice them.
I just wanted to try the food processor.
Kevin hadn't used his food processor since we made beer cheese, if you watch that video. So how does it make it thicker?
You move this and it adjusts it up and down.
Oh, okay.
So you can go really thick or you can go thinner.
Oh, okay.
That's just thick enough. Or that's still too thin.
Still too thin.
So I'm gonna have all our potatoes cut and be too thin.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm thinking. That's okay.
But it'll be good and crispy.
Won't take as long for them to fry, huh? That's better. That's the thickness you want. Right there is really what you want for a fried potato. So if you're cutting them on a cutting board yourself, really that's the perfect thickness right there. And on the food processor, that is
a little
over half, yeah.
It does make quick work of it.
Yeah, that's nice.
I mean, once you get it going, it goes really fast. I'm wondering if a regular sized potato wouldn't have been, wouldn't have worked fine.
Probably.
Those were just really huge potatoes. I mean, huge monster potatoes. So
now I'm going to get my electric skillet ready.
Yeah.
Okay, what I did to fry the potatoes, I'm using this electric skillet, and I just covered the bottom with, like, what would you say, Kevin, about an inch of oil? Not even an inch. So I'm just taking these potatoes, and I'm going to just lay them in the bottom, and then when the bottom's full, I'm just going to pile them up. It doesn't matter. And a long time ago, I made the mistake. I like onion on mine. But I made the mistake of putting the onion in first. So what happened was the onion burned. It turned black. And then I've also made the mistake of putting the potatoes in because for me it was trial and error. I put the potatoes in and then immediately put the onion in on top of it. You can't do that either. What you need to do is about 10 minutes or less before your potatoes are ready, then put your onion in. And that way they're a little crisp, but they're still cooked, and they still have the flavor. They're really nice to eat. So I'm just going to pile these up.
Some of those are pretty thin, aren't they?
Some of them are thin. That's okay. I'm going to pile them up and put the lid on, and I'm going to add some salt and pepper. And then I'll get back with you and I'll show you when I flip them. But I will leave them probably 10 minutes and not even touch them.
And you use the electric skillet because it's bigger and you got
yeah, that's a good point. When I made them before, I made them in a skillet on the stove. And when you pile them up, you just have no room to flip them at all. So the electric skillet is really nice. Like Kevin said, you can spread out and it's just a lot easier. Okay, I think it's been about 10 minutes. I'm not sure. I'm just going to check them though. Yeah, see how those are? Nice and crispy. That's right there. That's how you want them. And if some of them aren't ready, that's okay. I'm a flipper. I don't mind flipping these things several times. Some of these chefs on TV, you hear they only flip things one time and they brag about it. I'm not like that. I will flip it until it's ready. They look really good.
Plus you're breaking them up as you do that too.
Right. Yeah, they look good. So I'm going to let these sit for at least another 10 minutes. Because they're just now getting soft. Okay, it's been about 10 more minutes.
I could hold this without burning myself. But now I'm going to burn myself.
Yeah, these look really good. Okay, at this point, what I want to do is add my onion. And you don't have to add onion. I like onion because it adds a lot of flavor. It really, really, really does. So, oh yeah.
Yeah, those are good and crispy.
Yeah, so you can add as many, as little, or few as you like. And I'm just going to sprinkle them right here. And basically, the steam will heat them up. These probably only need another 5 minutes or so. The steam will really cook those onions. But you want to watch them now because onions, they will burn. So we're going to put the lid on. It'll be about 5 more minutes and these will be ready to eat. Okay, these are ready to take out. You need a plate or a platter with a paper towel on it.
A couple of layers of paper towel.
Yeah, layers of paper towel because these are very greasy. And you don't want all that grease on your plate. And you're just going to put them here. And then I have two. Instead of putting them on a platter, I've also put them in a bowl if you want something. Or if you want to drain them on this and then put them in a bowl so that if you're having company and you want it to be prettier, then I've drained it on a paper towel before and put it in a bowl. And I'm just going to leave those onions for a second and then take them out.
You scoop them out with that spatula?
Yeah. Well, if I can't get them with the spatula, I'll get them with a spoon. But yeah, I'm just letting these kind of get a little bit browner. I haven't been showing Kevin making the cornbread mix because we do have this recipe on YouTube for the cornbread. It's just two cups of cornmeal, 1 egg, 1 1/3 cup of milk, and a half a stick of melted butter. And he will combine all of that in this bowl. And if you want like a bacon flavor, you could leave out some of the butter and add like bacon grease. Or you can keep I've actually, last time I made it, I still kept the half a stick of butter and added like 2 tablespoons of bacon grease to this.
Or you can fry them in bacon grease.
Yeah, you can fry them in bacon grease. So, ooh, that sounds good. We have bacon grease.
We do. Yes.
We have bacon grease from where we've made bacon. You always keep your grease. We keep it in a butter container with the lid is somewhere. I have bacon grease written on the lid so we know. And yeah, bacon grease. And so he is going to fry his cornbread in this grease. And if he needs to add some vegetable oil, he will.
Definitely not a healthy meal.
Not a healthy meal. That's why we don't have it very often.
I put the bacon grease in, and we tried one out. We actually tried cooking one up, and we ate it. It was really good. So now I've just added a little bit more bacon grease to take the place of what we ate. And these, you don't want them super running like pancake mix, but you want them a little runny just so they'll spread out. Because if you don't have them spread out, they're too thick then. So get them to where they're, I don't even know how thick that is, but you can kind of tell they're not very thick at all. And you kind of wait until they start turning brown around the edges, and you can start seeing them turn like a golden brown. Like this is getting a little brown, but not like that, like darker brown. And then you can actually take your spatula too and look underneath of it, like raise it up just to peek at it, and then you're ready to flip it. Be very careful when you're flipping these, because if you flip them like this, they're probably going to hit the edge or splatter grease. I usually flip them towards the middle, but then you can also lay this right on top of one of these and it causes a mess. So try not to do that either. And you notice I've got it on, medium high? Probably that's, if they start to cook a little bit too fast, you might want to turn them down a little bit, but this seems to be a good golden brown. But you see how the grease splattered a little bit, that stayed in the pan. That's why I got a good high edge pan to cook these in. And when you do this side, you just kind of gotta check them every once in a while. Just look at the bottom of them. When they get good and brown like this on the bottom, then they're ready. And you take them out and get you a plate with just a couple layers of paper towel on them to soak up, because they will be a little greasy, not super greasy, but they will be a little greasy. And just let them sit and drain a little bit, and then they'll be ready to eat. But the bacon grease adds so much flavor to them; it's just amazing.
We ate them and didn't even need butter.
No butter, no anything. They're really, really good.
And you probably hear my beans bubbling. What I've done is to heat them up, I moved them onto the back burner earlier. And now I've just kind of turned them on and let the water work its way out of them a little bit, because you don't want all water. And I've let it cook down. You see how far down in the pan it's cooked, because my water was way up here earlier. So that way we get a lot more of the bean and the pork, the salt pork,
Whatever.
and those are ready to eat.
This is the first side, and that's the bottom. So you can see they get good
They
and
look
brown.
wonderful.
Very hot.
Kevin eats his brown beans. He puts a layer of cornbread, and then you'll put the beans. I have my beans right here, and I will put a spoonful of onion. Spoonful of onion on top.
I usually put onion on top of my cornbread.
So here is my finished Southern dinner: brown beans and fried potatoes and fried cornbread.